Welcome to the Redzone. I'm joined by Shawn Katz, the Marketing Communications Manager for Castle Lager. Hi Shawn, welcome.
Thank you very much.
So we're here to celebrate a very special occasion. Castle Lager, one of South Africa's favourite brands, is celebrating 120 years this year of heritage. Perhaps you can take us back in time a little bit and explain to us, how did the Castle brand come about?
120 is a big milestone for us. We're quite excited about it. And the story behind Castle Lager is really fascinating. So, a gentleman called Charles Glass, an Englishman, who was also seeking fortune on the reef, as it were. But he was a brewer by trade, and he started experimenting with the liquid from as early as 1884. So he's a true life character and basically walked the streets of the Witwatersrand, selling beer and getting people to taste his beer from a wheelbarrow. And it was only in 1895, in fact, where after he perfected his brew, he then sold it on to South African breweries. The brand was Castle Lager, and in 1895, the company called, now known as South African Breweries, or SAB Miller Limited, was born.
What were some of the challenges that this brand has faced? Because 120 years is a long time for a brand to survive, especially today.
It is a very long time, and it's a fascinating story because, there were challenges. Trends change, and, beer is kind of one of those brands and one of those products that kind of are influenced by trends out there. So the story hasn't always been a success story. The brand has been through some repositionings. We've had to course correct and change as we move through the ages. We look back now, and there's some TV commercials from the early 70s still featuring 3 brands in one commercial, Castle Lager being one of them. And obviously it was one of those early days of television, fascinating days where, we could still afford to run like 3-minute ads, spending time on 4 different brands. So there has been challenges, and the brand has been through periods where it lost market share, it regained market share. Suffice it to say, over the last couple of years, and especially since the 2010 World Cup, the brand has been quite focused around this friendship and the best of South Africa proposition, and that has proved quite successful for the brand. And it's definitely one thing that is the thing that we want to continue growing into the future, which is basically about the brand that brings friends together in a uniquely South African way.
Castle Lager is the iconic South African brand. Can you tell us how you were able to position the brand that people look at it and they know it? That's the Castle ad. That's South African.
Yeah, look, it's a credit also to people who looked after the brand long before I was around. And I'm sure they also, paid their school fees along the way. But I think sponsorship really has helped. As you know, Castle Lager sponsors the 3 national teams, the Proteas, the Springboks, and Bafana Bafana. Before that, Castle Lager has always been, for the last 54 years, been involved in South African sponsorships of, at some level or another. So over time, really, Castle became kind of part of what we call the fabric of South African life. And our communication has always tried to bring this out. So sponsorship was an important part, but also kind of being able to tap into the psyche of the nation, of what's current and what's happening. I think, looking back on Castle Lager history, this was one of the first brands to start, visually demonstrating black and white people socializing and sharing a beer together, which was quite revolutionary at the time. We're talking late 70s, early 1980s. So, and I think that's what has made Castle great, being able to kind of almost, drive societal change in a way, and it hasn't always been easy because, even with doing that, the brand has come under criticism for kind of trying to, to portray a reality which didn't exist at the time. But I think, true to, our previous payoff line, it has stood the test of time, as it were.
What also is very standout about the Castle ads and that people know about them is the music. Very iconic music. Tell us a little bit about the role of music in the ads.
Music is a critical component of our ads. We invest a lot in music, and what we really try to look for is big music tracks that has got strong emotional appeal, and more importantly, crossover appeal, because Castle is a big brand. It's a brand with broad appeal. Our target segments and our consumers are quite diverse people. Anything from like a multimillionaire living in Pretoria somewhere to like a guy who enjoys his two courts, on a Saturday watching a Bafana game. So we've got to have broad appeal. We've got to have, we look for big iconic music, and as I say, we invest quite heavily in it, and over the years we've been lucky enough to kind of be blessed with tracks like that, that we've used on Castle Lager advertising, and and that will remain in going into the future. We'll continue to kind of focus on tracks like that.
Something that Castle's done for the first time in terms of music, and that's that it's got a commemorative song.
Yeah, and that's quite exciting. It's a collaboration between Pro and Prime Circle. They actually approached us, which is amazing. And we immediately then recognized the opportunity to make this part of our 120-year milestone and celebration, which is quite important for us. And, the story of the song talks about friendships, talks about bringing friends together, which is so important for beer. And Castle Lager wants to own that space because it's such a big need state within kind of beer as a total category. So for us, it was a no-brainer. We love the track. We are busy developing a big TV commercial that we're going to be launching later in this year, and we are looking at, using the track in that TV commercial as well. So, yeah, I mean, it was just a no-brainer for us.
Well, we look forward to seeing that ad. Thank you very much for chatting to us.
Thank you very much.